The city was alive with its usual evening rush, car horns blaring, people moving in every direction, and hurried footsteps echoing through the grand hall of Union Station. Emma Carter, a 26-year-old graphic designer, was among them, her heart pounding as she sprinted toward her platform. She couldn't be late. Not for this. Her work presentation in San Francisco the next morning was the biggest opportunity of her career. If she nailed it, she would land a dream project with a top-tier firm. But right now, none of that mattered if she missed her train. Her suitcase rattled behind her as she dodged travelers and weaved through the crowd. 30 seconds left. She could hear the train announcer's voice echoing through the massive station. Final boarding for the 11:45 to San Francisco. Doors closing. Emma pushed harder, her lungs burning. The train was still there. She could make it. Just 10 more feet. But then, the sharp, unmistakable sound of the departure whistle filled the air. The doors slid shut. The train lurched forward. Emma skidded to a stop, eyes wide as she watched it pull away from the platform, disappearing into the night. No. No. She gasped, hands on her knees. This couldn't be happening. She straightened up, breathing heavily, her mind already racing for solutions. Another train? Not until morning. Bus? Sold out. Flight? Way out of her budget at this hour. Her heart sank. She was stuck. Emma dragged herself to a nearby bench and dropped onto it, head in her hands. This is unreal, she muttered. And then, a voice. Tough night? Emma glanced up, expecting some nosy stranger. Instead, her jaw nearly hit the floor. Standing there, casually leaning against a pillar, was none other than Keanu Reeves. Wait, what? Emma blinked, then blinked again. Was she hallucinating from stress? Keanu was dressed in a worn leather jacket over a black t-shirt, his signature long hair slightly tousled, and his hands tucked in his pockets. His expression was calm, slightly amused, like he was enjoying the chaos of the station rather than rushing through it like everyone else. Emma finally managed, struggling to form words. Keanu gestured toward the empty platform where the train had just been. I take it that was your ride? Emma let out a dry laugh, still trying to process what was happening. Yeah, that was the last train of the night. Keanu nodded thoughtfully, as if considering something. That sucks. Emma scoffed. Yeah, tell me about it. She expected the conversation to end there, because, let's be honest, what were the odds that Keanu Reeves was going to stick around and chat? But instead, he tilted his head slightly and asked, Where were you headed? Emma hesitated, still in shock that she was even having this conversation. San Francisco. I have a huge presentation tomorrow. I needed to be there first thing in the morning. Keanu was quiet for a moment, then gave a small nod. I can get you there. Emma froze. Wait, what? Her mind struggled to keep up. Wait, she said, laughing nervously. What do you mean you can get me there? Keanu shrugged, completely casual. I have another way of traveling. Emma stared at him. What, do you have a secret underground train or something? Keanu smirked. No secret trains. But I do have a ride. And before she could even begin to process what was happening, he turned and motioned for her to follow. Emma hesitated. Every logical part of her brain was screaming, do not follow a stranger. Even if that stranger is Keanu freakin' Reeves. But another part, the part still riding on the pure adrenaline of the night, was curious. And, honestly, what did she have to lose? With a deep breath, Emma grabbed her suitcase and followed him. The cold air hit Emma's face as she stepped outside, following Keanu onto the nearly deserted street. The city was still alive, neon signs glowing, taxis rushing by, and distant sirens wailing in the background. She looked around. No car. No driver. No clue how this was supposed to work. Okay, she said, eyeing him suspiciously. Where exactly is this ride of yours? Keanu simply pointed across the street.
Emma turned.
And that's when she saw it. A sleek, black Ducati motorcycle parked by the curb.
Her stomach dropped.
No way.
Keanu grinned.
It's the fastest way. Emma took a step back, shaking her head.
Nope, absolutely not.
I'm not getting on that thing. Keanu, still annoyingly calm, handed her a helmet. It's either this, or you wait for morning. Emma groaned, rubbing her face. This was ridiculous.
This was insane.
But also,
kind of amazing.
She glanced at Keanu, who was just standing there, waiting, totally unbothered. Did she really just meet Keanu Reeves at a train station and get offered a ride on his motorcycle? It was the wildest possible solution to her problem. But the real question was she brave enough to say yes? Emma sighed, grabbing the helmet from his hands. If I die, she muttered, strapping it on, I'm haunting you. Keanu chuckled as he swung a leg over the bike.
That's fair.
Taking one last deep breath, Emma climbed onto the back, gripping Keanu's jacket way tighter than necessary. Keanu revved the engine, the deep roar of the Ducati cutting through the night.
You ready? He asked over his shoulder.
No, Emma said immediately.
But it was too late.
The bike took off, launching them into the neon-lit city. And into a night she would never, ever forget. The Ducati roared through the city streets, weaving through traffic with a smooth precision that should have been terrifying.
And, at first, it was.
Emma clung to Keanu's jacket for dear life, her heart hammering in her chest as the wind whipped past her face. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She muttered under her breath, squeezing her eyes shut as the bike leaned slightly to turn.
Keanu, on the other hand, completely relaxed. Just breathe, he called over his shoulder.
You're doing great. Emma was not doing great. She was riding a motorcycle at what felt like hyperspeed, in the middle of the night, through the city, with Keanu Reeves. It was the most surreal moment of her life. But then, something weird started happening. After the first few miles, after her initial panic started to settle, Emma peeked out from behind Keanu's shoulder. The bright city lights streaked past, casting colorful reflections on the wet pavement. The rush of adrenaline coursing through her veins started to feel less like fear, and more like exhilaration. She loosened her grip just slightly. And then, without even realizing it, she smiled.
This was insane.
But it was also amazing. They flew down the highway, heading toward the airport, the night sky stretching endlessly above them. Okay, Emma finally shouted over the wind. I hate to admit it, but this is kind of awesome. Keanu chuckled, effortlessly shifting gears.
Told you. Emma shook her head.
How are you so calm right now?
Keanu smirked.
Lots of practice.
Emma let out a breath.
Yeah, well, I've had exactly zero practice with this.
You're doing fine.
She laughed, loosening her grip just a little more. For the first time in a long time, Emma wasn't thinking about work. She wasn't thinking about deadlines, emails, stress. She was just in the moment. And she had Keanu freakin' Reeves to thank for it. After about 20 minutes, Keanu pulled into a quiet rest stop off the highway. The hum of the bike died down, leaving only the distant sounds of crickets and passing cars. Emma stumbled off, legs wobbly. Okay, that was a lot. Keanu took off his helmet, running a hand through his tousled hair.
You good?
Emma exhaled, shaking out her arms. I think my soul left my body back there.
But yeah, I'm good.
Keanu chuckled, leaning casually against the bike. Emma took a moment to really look at him. He was so calm, so at ease, like he had no worries in the world. What was that like? Emma folded her arms. Okay, I gotta ask, why are you doing this? Keanu raised an eyebrow.
Doing what? Emma threw up her hands. This.
Helping a total stranger get to San Francisco in the most insane way possible?
Keanu shrugged. Because I can. Emma squinted at him. That's it? That's the whole reason? Keanu smirked.
Sometimes, you don't need a reason to help someone. Sometimes, it's just the right thing to do. Emma stared at him for a second. Was this guy real? She shook her head, laughing.
You are something else. Keanu grinned.
I get that a lot.
Emma stretched her arms. So, what now?
You got a helicopter waiting for us next?
Keanu chuckled. No helicopters.
But we're almost at the airport.
Emma froze. Wait, airport?
She looked at him suspiciously. What do you mean airport? Keanu casually pulled on his helmet. I told you, I know a guy.
Emma's jaw dropped.
Oh my god. Oh, you have a private plane.
Keanu smirked.
Not mine exactly. But let's just say,
I have a way in. Emma just stared at him.
This night just kept getting crazier. Keanu handed her the helmet again. You coming or what? Emma sighed, grabbing it. If this ends in me accidentally joining an underground fight club, I swear.
Keanu laughed. No fight clubs. Just a plane.
Emma rolled her eyes but couldn't stop smiling as she climbed back onto the bike. Keanu revved the engine. And just like that, they were off again, racing toward the next unbelievable part of this night. The Ducati purred as Keanu smoothly pulled up to a private airport entrance. The massive glass doors of the terminal reflected the runway lights, and beyond them, Emma saw a sleek private jet waiting. Her jaw nearly hit the pavement. She stumbled off the bike, yanking off her helmet, her heart racing. No freaking way. Keanu casually parked the bike, unfazed. What? Emma pointed at the jet. That is not a normal solution to missing a train.
Keanu smirked.
You wanted to get to San Francisco. I'm getting you there.
Emma blinked at him.
Do you just have a private jet waiting at all times?
Like a backup Uber? Keanu chuckled.
Not exactly.
But I do have friends.
Before Emma could process this any further, a man in a well-tailored suit appeared from the terminal, walking toward them. He was effortlessly cool, his posture relaxed, but his eyes sharp. Keanu, the man greeted with a smile.
Didn't expect to see you tonight.
Hey Mike, Keanu replied, shaking his hand. Mind if we hitch a ride? Mike eyed Emma with curiosity but didn't question it. You know I can't say no to you.
Emma's head spun. This was real.
Mike gestured toward the jet. We're wheels up in 10.
You two ready?
Emma laughed in disbelief. I don't think I'll ever be ready for this.
Keanu turned to her.
You coming or what? Emma hesitated for a second.
Then, what the hell?
She grabbed her bag and followed him toward the plane. Emma stepped into the luxurious cabin and immediately felt wildly out of place. Soft leather seats.
Dim golden lighting. A stocked bar.
It was straight out of a movie Keanu Reeves would star in. Keanu flopped into one of the reclining seats like this was completely normal. Emma, meanwhile, just stood there, staring at everything.
This is insane, she muttered. Keanu grinned. Still saying that?
She slowly sat down across from him, still processing. So, let me get this straight, she said, folding her arms.
I missed my train.
And now I'm on a private jet, with Keanu Reeves. This is real life?
Keanu smirked. Seems like it.
Emma shook her head, laughing in disbelief.
Then she paused.
Something had been nagging at her all night. She looked at Keanu. Why are you doing this? Keanu raised an eyebrow.
What do you mean? Emma leaned forward.
You could have just walked away back at the train station. Why go through all this trouble? Keanu was quiet for a moment, considering. Then, with a small smile, he said,
Because I can. Emma squinted at him. That's the whole reason? Keanu shrugged.
Look, sometimes the world is full of people who only help when there's something in it for them. But sometimes, someone's just in the right place at the right time. Emma sat back, taking that in. She had spent so much time stressing over work, over deadlines, over things that felt so important. And yet, this night, this insane, ridiculous, unbelievable night, had reminded her that life was so much more than that. She smiled, shaking her head.
You're unreal. Keanu grinned.
I get that a lot. The flight attendant appeared, smiling. Mr. Reeves, we're ready for takeoff. Emma exhaled, her heart racing again. Okay, here goes nothing. Keanu raised his glass of water. To unexpected adventures. Emma picked up a bottle of sparkling water, clinking it against his.
To being open to them.
The plane took off, soaring into the night sky. And Emma knew this was a night she would never forget. The jet soared through the night sky, smooth and silent. Below them, the glittering lights of the city stretched endlessly, but inside the cabin, everything felt calm. Emma sat across from Keanu, finally letting herself relax. The adrenaline from the night's events was still pulsing through her veins, but for the first time in hours, she wasn't stressing about missing her train. Instead, she was enjoying the moment. She glanced at Keanu, who was casually sipping from a glass of water, looking out the window as if this was just another normal night. Emma shook her head, laughing softly.
Keanu turned to her. What? She smirked.
You realize this is probably the craziest thing that has ever happened to me, right?
Keanu chuckled. It's up there, huh? Emma threw up her hands. I mean, think about it. I missed my train.
Then Keanu freakin' Reeves shows up out of nowhere, puts me on a motorcycle, races through the city, and now I'm on a private jet to San Francisco? She leaned back, still in disbelief. This is straight-up movie material.
Keanu smirked.
Yeah, but if it was a movie, there'd probably be a car chase by now.
Emma laughed.
Well, let's not push our luck. The flight attendant walked by, offering snacks. Emma grabbed a small pack of pretzels and popped one in her mouth. So, she said, looking at Keanu.
You do this kind of thing often? Keanu shrugged.
Not exactly. But I like helping when I can. Emma studied him for a second. You really do, don't you? Keanu gave a small smile.
The world can be a tough place.
Sometimes people just need a little help. Emma nodded, letting that sink in. She had spent so much time focused on her career, on proving herself, on making sure she didn't mess up, but she never stopped to think about how the smallest act of kindness could change everything. Maybe that's what this night was really about. Keanu leaned back, arms crossed. So, what's this big presentation about anyway? Emma snapped out of her thoughts.
All right.
It's for a major branding pitch with one of the biggest firms in the industry. If I land this deal, it could change everything for my career.
Keanu nodded.
And you were ready to give up when you missed that train? Emma sighed, remembering how hopeless she had felt just hours ago.
Yeah, I guess I was.
She looked out the window, then back at him.
Funny how life works, huh? Keanu grinned.
It has a way of surprising you. The jet touched down smoothly at a private airstrip just outside San Francisco. The sky was still dark, but the distant glow of sunrise peeked over the horizon.
Emma took a deep breath.
She had actually made it. The doors opened, and Keanu stood up, stretching like he had just woken up from a nap. Emma grabbed her bag, still in shock that this had all happened. As they walked down the steps onto the tarmac, a black car was already waiting for her.
Keanu turned to her.
Looks like you're all set.
Emma hesitated.
This whole experience had been so surreal, she wasn't sure how to say goodbye.
She looked at him.
I don't even know how to thank you for this.
Keanu smirked. Just pass it on someday. Emma smiled. I will.
She took a step toward the car, but then stopped and turned back.
Hey, Keanu.
He raised an eyebrow.
Yeah? Emma grinned.
If you ever need a ride, call me. No trains required.
Keanu chuckled.
I'll remember that. She climbed into the car, and as it pulled away toward the city, she watched Keanu standing there, calm as ever. Just another night. Just another Keanu Reeves story.
And for Emma?
It was a night that had changed everything.